Hey Hamza, I'm gonna sit next to him. Because they're gonna sit for the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khairan, everyone, for coming. We're so honored to have you guys all come here today. And we have some special guests. I want to thank the entire MSA board for putting this all together. Also, a shout out to Ibrahim Lawaru for doing a lot of the backstage work, and he made this event possible. So we have two guests today. There are the good friends of mine. We have Mouadh Ayachi from Dallas. He's a big social media guy. He's huge. He's huge in America, and he's really good. And also we have a special guest. He won a world competition in Dubai. His name is Ahmed Mohamed. He's a great reciter. So I have a request from the speakers. They want us all to be lit and like hype, okay? So we're gonna do a slow clap, all right? Everyone follow me. Restart. I don't know what. Okay, 1 second. We're gonna restart. We're gonna restart. All right, guys, ready? 1, 2, 3. Welcome, Mouadh Ayachi, Ahmed Mohamed.
Sorry. Social media guy. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن. خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. الشمس والقمر بحسبان. والنجم والشجر يسجدان. والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان. ألا تطغوا في الميزان. وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان. والأرض وضعها للأنام. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الجان من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان رب المشرقين ورب المغربين فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان كل من عليها فان كل من عليها فان كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان صدق الله العظيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له من قبل أن يأتيكم العذاب ثم لا تنصرون. واتبعوا أحسن ما أنزل إليكم من ربكم من قبل أن يأتيكم العذاب بغتة وأنتم لا تشعرون. أن تقول نفس يا حسرة على ما فرطت في جنب الله وإن كنت لمن الساخرين. أو تقول لو أن الله هداني لكنت من المتقين. أو تقول حين ترى العذاب لو أن لي كرة فأكون من المحسنين. بلى قد جاءتك آياتي فكذبت بها واستكبرت وكنت من الكافرين. ويوم القيامة ترى الذين كذبوا على الله وجوههم مسودة أليس في جهنم مثوى للمتكبرين. ارتضوا بمفازتهم لا يمسهم السوء ولا هم يحزنون. الله خالق كل شيء وهو على كل شيء وكيل. الله خالق كل شيء وهو على كل شيء وكيل. له مقاليد السماوات والأرض والذين كفروا بآيات الله أولئك هم الخاسرون. قل أفغير الله تأمروني أعبد أيها الجاهلون. ولقد أوحي إليك وإلى الذين من قبلك لئن أشركت ليحبطن عملك ولتكونن من الخاسرين. بل الله فاعبد وكن من الشاكرين. وما قدروا الله حق قدره والأرض جميعا قبضته يوم القيامة والسماوات مطويات بيمينه سبحانه وتعالى عما يشركون. ونفخ في الصور فصعق من في السماوات ومن في الأرض إلا من شاء الله ثم نفخ فيه أخرى فإذا هم قيام ينظرون. وأشرقت الأرض بنور ربها ووضع الكتاب وجيء بالنبيين والشهداء وقضي بينهم بالحق وهم لا يظلمون. ووفيت كل نفس ما عملت وهو أعلم بما يفعلون. وسيق الذين كفروا إلى جهنم زمرا حتى إذا جاءوها فتحت أبوابها وقال لهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم رسل منكم يتلون عليكم آيات ربكم وينذرونكم لقاء يومكم هذا قالوا بلى ولكن حقت كلمة العذاب على الكافرين قيل ادخلوا أبواب جهنم خالدين فيها فبئس مثوى المتكبرين وسيق الذين اتقوا ربهم إلى الجنة زمرا حتى إذا جاءوها وفتحت أبوابها وقال لهم خزنتها سلام عليكم طبتم فادخلوها خالدين وقالوا الحمد لله الذي صدقنا وعده وأورثنا الأرض نتبوأ من الجنة حيث نشاء فنعم أجر العاملين وترى الملائكة حافين من حول العرش يسبحون بحمد ربهم وقضي بينهم بالحق وقيل الحمد لله رب العالمين صدق الله العظيم.
تكبير. Can you hear me? Sorry. In the back. Red hoodie, can you hear me? Yeah, alright, thanks. Copy. Bismillah. Bismillah والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم طهر قلوبنا من النفاق وأعمالنا من الرياء. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك أما بعد. So, can we have a little more volume on this mic? Just like a little. Sorry, thank you. First of all, I'd like to say it's a huge, crazy honor to be here, and I'm sure, like, I'm never gonna be on this level, mashallah. Like, what he just did to our hearts, like, he just beat in our hearts up with the Quran, mashallah. May Allah bless the organizers of this awesome event, Ibrahim, the sisters, everyone involved. You guys did an amazing job. Work on it next time. I'm just kidding. It was crazy. I was at work and, like, in corporate, everyone loves small talk. Like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And I'm just like, I'm going to Kansas, and they're like, okay, have fun. I'm just kidding. But I'm from Dallas. Is anyone from Dallas? Yeah, there's probably a reason for that. Yeah? Okay. What's up? Hey, okay. Bismillah. So I just wanted to say that, like, I'm really happy to be here, and I love Kansas. You guys are an amazing community, and
Missouri.
See that? I should leave, right? Okay. I love Kansas, Missouri. We're all the same thing. But just kidding. So I wanted to start off what I really want to call, like, first of all, I'm not whether you're being here, but just if I have any reminder for myself first of all, and to you all. It's something that I learned from my teachers growing up, and I've learned from like personal experiences with the Quran and with just everything going on in life, is that like sincerity is just like one of the biggest things that we need to have. And I know you guys, everyone's heard that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, one of the most authentic hadith ever. Everyone knows that hadith. And everyone's had this talk a million times. I have good intentions, good intentions, good intentions. But subhanAllah, like when you think about it, and when it comes to this age of social media, and when it comes to this age of like activism, mashallah, like we're doing amazing things, alhamdulillah, as Muslims. But there's a lot of things that we need to consider when we're doing these amazing good deeds. There's a lot of things that we need to think about in our own hearts when it comes to doing these amazing things that we're doing for our communities. Like for example, when you're working in the MSA, why are you doing that? This is a conversation you should have with yourself. Because it's amazing that you're doing something that's good for you. You're doing something that's good for your Muslim, student ummah. You're doing really amazing things. But shaitan, although he's extremely weak, in the case of shaitan, he's weak, but he's smart at the same time, and he knows how to get to you. So when he tells you, or not when he tells you, when you decide to do something good, shaitan's like, all right, that's fine. Go volunteer, go do that, but I'm gonna make you do that for the wrong reason. I'm gonna make you do these really great things for the wrong reason, just to impress a certain person, or to look good for the entire community. Is this better? Sorry. And to look good in front of the entire community, just so everyone can be like, mashallah, look at his beard, Or mashallah, he's been so active in the community, or mashallah, she's been in every single meeting, she's never missed anything. Mashallah, mashallah. And then shaitan's gonna play with your heart, and he's gonna make you do these really great things, but at the end of the day, you get what you intend for. That's what the hadith says. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ, shout it out, بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Allah is gonna judge you based on your intentions. He's gonna judge that good deed that you do based on why you did it. And the next part of the hadith, and whoever is hijrah, whoever wanted to do this to please a woman so he could marry her, like that's us guys. Like that's, how many times do you catch yourself, you're like, man, I'm only in I'm only running this MSA because there's a lady at the MSA that I'm trying to impress, or something like that. Or the advisor is someone's parent that I'm trying to impress, or any of that kind of stuff. And a lot of it's subconscious. That's the thing. And the hardest part about fixing the wrong is identifying it, is finding out what's wrong with my heart. And the reason I'm calling this the disease of the heart is because Imam Ghazali and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, and there's so many mashayikh or scholars, mashallah, they have books and books about diseases of the heart. Hamza Yusuf, Purification of the Heart. Who's heard of that? It's such a big book. Oh yeah, mashallah, minna guys. Okay? But the fact that we overlook these diseases in our hearts is such a big detrimental thing. And it's something that I've struggled with every single day of my life, and I'm sure many people struggle with it. In fact, probably all of us. Just constantly maintaining good intentions and sincerity with what we do. And this leads into riyah, which is, who can shout out what the definition of riyah means? What? Showing off? Pride? That's kibr. So close. But anyways, the riyah is basically like showing off and pretend, look, I'm gonna put this bottle cap because that's the right thing to do, and I'm gonna lead the salah because people are gonna be impressed with it. I'm only gonna pray salah because people will see me praying and they'll say mashallah. That's basically what riyah is. And when it comes to like something that like me and Sheikh Ahmed and like a lot of people, when it comes to reciting Quran or leading salawat or having these little talks, a lot of times we'll just subconsciously forget the fact that we're doing it for the wrong reason sometimes. And that's why, like, when it comes to doing these good deeds, we should constantly be asking ourselves, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for the right reason? And if you're not, that's okay. You can rectify and fix and renew your intentions. That's the beauty of Allah's mercy, subhanAllah. Like, it's not the end of the world when you catch yourself like, oh man, I'm slacking. I'm doing this for the wrong reason. Should I even be doing this at all? And then shaitan's like, yeah, you should stop doing it at all, because it's messing with your heart. So you have, subhanAllah, you see how it's smart, huh? But that's why we need to like find that balance where just like, okay, I'm doing these things and I found that I'm doing it for the wrong reason, what can I do next? And social media wise, guys, social media, like for me personally, like when I started off on it, like I don't mind opening up to you guys about this, like some of it gets to your head, like the likes and I had like my first, I got 1,000 followers. I went up to my dad and I was like, Baba, look at my phone, I have 1,000 followers on Instagram because I make Quran videos. He's like, oh, you probably bought them followers, you fake, But no, he was like, he actually said that, But anyways, so like you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I making a video online? Why am I leading the MSA? Why am I doing these good deeds? And it's so sad that, like, why are you gonna let such a beautiful good deed get poisoned by shaitan? Why are you gonna let shaitan ruin that beautiful good deed? And like for me, like the kibr, now we're gonna jump into another disease of the heart, which is kibr. And that's arrogance and too much pride, and look at me, I'm such a big deal. Because when I started getting these comments and these emojis and these follow requests and these marriage proposals and, you know, I'm joking, right? No, I'm joking. But like, when you start getting these comments, and I'm telling you guys, alhamdulillah, my case is like, it's nothing. But I have friends, we got group chats on WhatsApp, and we're like, you look at these messages that we're getting, these Snapchats and receive, like it's so damaging to our heart because so many of these things get to us. We're like, hey man, maybe I am a big deal. And like, the guys organizing this event, they wanted to put Qadi next to my name, and I hate that because I didn't get to go through that amazing training that Sheikh Ahmed got to go through. MashaAllah. May Allah bless him, say ameen. But there's trainings and there's credibility that you receive when it comes to learning ilm and learning tajweed and learning all these things. There's something called the ijazah, where you complete the entire Quran with a shaykh from front to back. There's ways you get to that level, mashallah. You can't just be like, yeah man, I make videos, therefore I'm this. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube on Salah, therefore I'm an expert. Like, there's levels and ways you educate yourself. And all of this stuff, like this whole social media thing, it ties into our hearts and it makes us feel so good about ourselves. Like, we're like, wow, look at me. And one of there's a huge, long, terrifying hadith of Prophet ﷺ. He was talking about how when these certain signs come, you should forget everything else and just worry about yourself and worry about your own spirituality. And one of those things, or one of those signs, was the fact that people will be impressed with their own opinions. And when the sheikh said that, I was like, yo, this is deep. That's basically twitter.com. Everyone has an opinion about everything. All of us want to say something about this. Well, I believe this, I believe that. Well, we're all so obsessed with our own opinions. And that's because of the way social media kind of shapes our mindsets and our perspectives on life. And it makes us think about like, oh, I have these followers, whatever, 80, 50, 100,000, whatever. And all these people care so much about what I have to say. And then that goes into what? Kibr. That makes you feel like, oh man, I'm such a big deal. Because I have these followers. I'm such a big deal because I'm talking about all these amazing things that people should be impressed about. And so that's my one piece of advice, going through the Qur'an, like the field of qira'ah with these amazing mashayikh that I've had the privilege of learning from, and all these people that I get to meet, mashallah. If I have one piece of advice when it comes to any activism, when it comes to any recitations or learning Qur'an or learning ilm or any of that stuff, or just getting involved in anything deen related or even non-deen related where it's just a positive influence or a positive effect on the community, is to always make sure that you are being sincere. And so always try to catch yourself before you've gone like crazy far. May Allah purify our hearts, say ameen. And real quick, we're gonna get into like we're gonna do like a little Q&A thingy, right? Or whatever. But about the Quran, since this is a Quran night, building a relationship with the Quran is, wallahi guys, it's one of the most beautiful things you can do for yourself. And genuinely looking into what you've recited. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking, he's like, why don't they do dubur? Why don't they do tadabbur on the Quran? Why don't they dig a little deeper into the Quran, into the words that I've said, these 604 pages that I've said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said these words. It didn't come from a human. We like to, identify this like, oh yeah, Prophet Muhammad revealed this to us, but it came from God. The words that Ahmed just killed us with, mashallah, the words that I just read, mashallah, like, these came from God. And Allah's saying, don't they think about the words that I'm saying? And it's so beautiful that every single word in the Quran is placed there for a perfect and specific reason. And there's so much science behind it. It's called tafsir, there's ulum al-Quran, and there's so much that goes into this Quran. There's so much more behind it. There's so much more behind the beautiful voice. Wallahi, I could listen, not I, but back in the Prophet's time, they would just hear the Quran and they would just start crying because of the meaning. They didn't always have amazing sheikhs like Ahmed reciting, sometimes they would just hear it and it would just shut their hearts down. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks in that ayah, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبُّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ, don't they think about the Quran? أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا, or are there locks upon their hearts? Allahu Akbar. When you can't open up your heart to the Quran, then how is it going to affect you? When you hear it just to hear it, it's like some background noise or just to, make your day start off on the right foot. When you're actually not thinking about it and you genuinely open up your heart to it, that's when it punches you. In a good way, the good punch that you want. It's kind of weird, yeah? But, what was the, anyways, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. But, there's the ayah in Surah Hashr. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. If we have revealed this Quran on a jabal, on a mountain, لرأيته, you would have seen it crumble, خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله, humble from the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if this book can shatter a mountain, then what about our hearts? Well, anyways, I feel like I've gone on for too long. No? Yes? No? Okay. I had one. Huh? Wrap it up? Okay. One more thing I want to say. Sorry. Excuse me. I talk so much. Basically, there's another really beautiful piece of advice when it comes to the social media thing in the hearts, is that when you if you want to make sure that you're not letting this social media stuff and this whole public whatever it is get to your heart, then try to make your private life better than your public life. And make sure that the things you do in public are much less than the things you do in private. So yeah, you volunteer, do all that amazing stuff where everyone sees you lead salah, you give talks and lectures, but then when you're on your own, when it's just you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's when you thrive, that's your prime. And you can pray tahajjud, you can read a lot of Quran and watch videos or study with the shaykh or anything like that. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just try to have that mindset where my private life should be better than my public life. And thinking about that reminded me of this amazing poem which was turned into a nasheed. I'd like to request the Shaykh Ahmed to just do 2 lines real quick about it. And I'll talk about it real quick and then we're done, I promise.
إذا ما قال لي ربي أما استحييت تعصيني وتخفي الذنب عن خلقي وبالعصيان تأتيني فكيف أجيب يا ويحي وماذا سوف يحييني.
Thank you. MashaAllah. Takbir. It's so nice. Okay. MashaAllah. This poem is actually not as beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful and it's extremely deep, but it's scary. It's basically saying, I'm gonna give you a really ugly translation, but because I'm bad at this, but it's like saying, إِذَا مَا قَالَ لِي رَبِّي, if when maybe my Lord will tell me. So it's like a conversation between Allah and us. أَمَا اسْتَحْيَيْتَ تَعْصِينِي, aren't you a little shy that you're gonna disobey me? وَتُخْفِي الذَّنْبَ عَنْ خَلْقِي, and you're hiding your good deeds, and you're hiding your bad deeds from my creation, what I've created. This is a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبِالْعَصْيَانِ تَأْتِينِي, and with the disobedience you come to me. Allahu Akbar. Do you guys understand it kind of? Because this is when you're in the comfort of your own home, and when you're in your room and the door's locked, or you're in your car and no one can see you, or it's late at night. This is when the test comes. This is when Shaitan comes to you. He's like, hey, yo, no one's looking at you. Do your thing. Hey, yo, go talk to that person. Go smoke this. Go do that. Whatever it is. And this is a conversation with Allah. And Allah's telling you, hey, man, aren't you a little embarrassed that it's just me and you? Because how much more, intimate would it be? It's you're in a room with one person. It's kind of awkward. You don't want to do anything in front of them, right? But imagine you being in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just you and him. No one else. And he's saying, you're hiding the sins from my people, the things that I created. You're hiding al-asyan an khalqi, from my creation. You're hiding them. You're hiding the sins from my creation. And you come to me with the sins. So when it's just me and you, that's when you start sinning. And that was so deep. I was man, I heard it, and then Sheikh Ahmed Mohamed was talking about it, and it's just may Allah purify our hearts and allow our private lives to be exponentially better than our public lives, and to allow the Quran to every time we hear it, to allow it to penetrate directly into our hearts, and to allow us to live our lives by the Quran like the Prophet ﷺ. And may Allah bless all of you guys, and Jazakallah khair. That's awesome. Alright, we're gonna do like a, you can tell.
All right, now we're gonna have a Q&A. So you guys can, the floor is yours now. We're gonna have a mic coming around. So
Y'all can raise your hand if you want.
oh yeah, raise your hand and I'm gonna give you guys a mic.
It's gonna be quick, like, we're not
Don't be
chefs, by
shy,
the way.
don't be shy.
We're not chefs. Yes. Yes. Hey. Arabic, ça va? Okay. He's Tunisian, there's like 4 of us. What's up, man?
All right.
Any like questions real quick, like about like personal, not like Sharia stuff. Oh god.
How many Instagram followers do you have?
Thank God I didn't understand that. Can you next?
How many Instagram followers do you have?
Come on.
So you don't follow me? Big.
All right, one right here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Is there any advice on good habits to memorize Quran on a constant basis?
Okay. For memorizing Quran, what we like my teachers have found to be most productive is to create a schedule around it. Kind of to have it every single day, like something you can't miss. Just like lunch, dinner, breakfast, like I can't miss that, you know? Just like that, you can't miss your salah. Just like that, you can't miss work. You can't miss that 30 minutes or that 1 hour of Quran every single day. Like you treat it as, if you give the Quran the qadr that it deserves, then it will give you even more qadr. You know, the Sheikh Muhammad Jibreel, he's like, this is a funny joke. There's a Sheikh, you know Muhammad Jibreel? Amazing reciter. He's kind of short, you know? So when he was a kid, he was even like shorter, like straight up, like this tall. He'd be like 14, you know? And he's talking about how when he memorized the Quran, he became a world famous reciter and things like that. And he succeeded with the Quran. Whenever he would go up to the podium, they would literally put him a step. And he was like, that's exactly how the Quran rafa'ani. That's exactly how the Quran lifted me. Allahu Akbar. So there's my answer from that. It's just to be consistent. Like, it's just like the gym, you know? I wouldn't know, but like, normally people try to get big and muscular and stuff, they have to be there every day or they won't see the results that they want to see. Allahu Akbar.
You also have a professional teacher to teach you. You have to have a very professional teacher who knows what he's doing. Most people might go to like a lock-off teacher, I might call it, stuff like that. You have to have a strict teacher that's pushing you forward always. And you have to have like a group of friends to learn the Quran with. Because if you're doing it by yourself, you're going to feel lonely. Eventually, you're going to get an education.
Awesome question. Go on one more. Right next to me. What about the sisters?
How did you grow up to learn the Quran?
How did we grow up to learn the Quran? I was lucky, my parents forced me. So, but it was, you know, pretty much like I went to an Islamic school. It was part of just like math. We had a Quran class. And then it wasn't until like the last year of high school where I had like 8 ajizat left, or like 8 paras. And then I was like, you know, I really want to finish before I graduate. So I just pushed really hard. Now I don't know any of it. Go ahead. Just kidding, don't rush, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, now for the sisters.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a young boy that I would like to take your footsteps. What advices would you give
You don't want that.
to be able to be successful in Quran and be on that schedule?
Well, just like what we said, just finding him teachers and mentorship. Just throughout the whole process of Quran, learning Quran is to have someone that will tell you what to do, tell you to do this, and if you mess this up. I never learned until I had a teacher who was extremely mean. Like this guy would roast me and say, that sucked, you know, like, not with all due respect, you know, he would say, that sounded really bad, or that you messed up that tajweed, but stop, you know. So it's when you have a teacher and they'll drive them into, and they'll mold them with the Quran, inshallah. What do you have to add?
You
Thank
don't
you.
want to have a teacher like Mouadh Ayachi 24/7.
What?
No app, you're an app, man.
What's that?
You don't know what app is? You guys know what app is? Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna
Can't
guess.
see Minnesota. Who's next?
Hi, I have a question. The name of the poem you mentioned.
Oh. It's if you type in Arabic on Google, do you have Arabic keyboard?
Yeah.
Just type that. Oh, wait.
Wait 1 second, I got it.
It's a song. It's like a nasheed now, or they turned it into one. Like all vocals for all the anti-musical instrument people. إذا ما قال Li Rabbi. That you should find it. It's very, very popular. Chef, do you know what it's called? Huh? Uh-oh. I think they'll be fine. Yeah, what's up? Next? Oh, got it.
Do we got any more questions?
You know,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I feel like Zakir Naik. Just kidding.
So how I can encourage my son to keep the prayer on time?
So
He always pray, but not on time.
for Salah,
Yes.
Wallahi, I don't know. I feel like that's a better question for Sheikh. That's okay. For me, Salah is just something that my parents taught me to never live without. You can do whatever you want, just don't let go of the Salah. And at the young age, you have to force them. My dad, we used to have a curtain behind our Salah room, and my dad would go pray. I'm like, okay. And I wouldn't even make wudu, and I'll go, so I'm 7 years old, and then I'll go there, and then he'll put his head between the curtain, make sure I'm praying, and then his head is just popping out like that. And then I would pretend to pray, and he was like, I saw you. And I go back in. So it's just constantly pushing them. There's the hadith of being forceful, even 7 years old and 10 years old. Allahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair.
Yeah.
How old is your son?
I have two. I have 9 years and 16.
Which one doesn't pray?
The 16. He prays and he is in hafs, but he doesn't do it on time. He always keep it later.
Tell him scary stories about what happens to people that don't pray Salah.
I do.
We're not sheikhs, or I'm not, so we just, if you have personal questions growing up, no, seriously, you have to give the sheikhs the qadr that they work for, mashallah, so.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh man, I'm dead.
No, I just wanted to add to that, perhaps, if you don't mind, but if the son or children are having a problem praying on time, the best thing to do is pray at the masjid. If you go to the masjid has a certain time, so you pray with them. If you can't make it, then pray at the time the masjid would usually pray. Alhamdulillah, that's the easiest way I found to pray on time. Allah.
Miss you.
Assalamu alaikum. We have a request if you can do Nashida one more time, please. Yeah, the Nashida, please. We just want to record, please.
I will get one more question after. Hey, right here, because we'll do this last question because we have another fun activity. I don't know.
إذا ما قال لي ربي أما استحييت تعصيني وتخفي الذنب عن خلقي وبالعصيان تأتيني فكيف أجيب يا ويحي وماذا سوف يحميني أسلي النفس بالآمال من حين وأنسى ما وراء الموت ماذا سوف تكفيني كأني قد ضمنت العيش ليس الموت يكفيني.
Alright, so I got two comments. I don't know if you can hear this clearly. Regarding the question you asked about the prayers, forcing a child has never worked for me as a kid. Rather than making him love praying. So rather than making it aada than ibadah, make it ibadah rather than aada. So rather than making it a habit that he has to go through every day, it has to be something he has to enjoy. Now, all of us sometimes, and that's who waqt salah, all of us sometimes get distracted and think about our issues. But make it something he really enjoys. Now, you know your son more than anyone else in this room, and so you have to encourage him using things he likes. And so if you pray, you get closer to God, and so you'll score a goal in your next game. And if you don't, then you're gonna get edge. I don't know. You know him more than anyone else in this room, and so this is my comment, and this is what has worked for me. When I was forced as a kid, I never thought about the words I was reading and never thought about the ayat I was reading. And so it didn't really work for me. But then now that I know what I'm reading, you know what I mean? The second comment you mentioned, riya, I think there's a fine line between riya and then showing off and then doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For me, I was into social media for a while in Snapchat. And a lot of people were judging me for doing this. So a lot of times when I paid sadaqah or did a lot of good deeds, I purposely did it on my social media so I can encourage people. And so there's a lot of times like I do it intentionally. Now I don't mean to like just like I can't find the word, like impress people, but I'd rather like like motivate them. There's a lot of people who don't have parents who tell them about like to pay sadaqah daily, or that's just an example, but you know what I mean, like yeah. And so like if you can have the opportunity to post it on your social media and be able to encourage other people, I honestly, my opinion is to do it. And like you're gonna help other people, think about what you're doing, and then maybe join you as well. And so I just wanted to comment on that. Yeah. Thank you. All right, one last question for now.
Assalamu alaikum. My question was, a lot of us have work or go by our day-to-day regular classes that are non-Islamic. How do you go about, not necessarily a schedule, but any books, recommendations, and things like that somebody could read or get encouraged by just to increase their knowledge when it comes to Islamic studies?
Shafi, can you help us?
Assalamu alaikum. So some daily things that you can do. Well, let me just tell you what I do. Sometimes I feel like I need some inspiration. And even today I was thinking about it, and I thought, well, the Quran al-Azim was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ to inspire him. So I was reading some pages from the Quran al-Azim, and I found verses in there. Of course, as you read it, you feel like you're talking, you feel like Allah is talking to you, talking to your situation. And that's the best thing I found, to read the Quran, and even if you get tired of reading, then listen to it. Okay, if you don't understand it when you listen to it, then listen to the English then. Wallahi, if the Quran was there to help the Prophet ﷺ be a prophet and be the best prophet, then why can't the Quran be there to help us be the best Muslims? So just take a portion of the Quran and read it every day, one page or something like that. And of course, even you have local imams and teachers, and if you can't find local, then they are online. But to do something, inshallah, every day would help, especially the Quran al-Azim.
Can you add?
Can you
add a book?
Okay.
Can you add a book? Rahiq al-Makhtoum.
Rahiq al-Makhtoum.
Yeah. I forgot the name, but that's like to explain the Quran and stuff.
Do you get that?
And I think it'll help.
Rahiq al-Makhtoum is a book recommendation.
Yeah.
And also the best time to like
The Sacred Nectar.
The sealed nectar. Yeah.
Seal.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
And also the best time to review something or learn the Quran is, most of the scholars, they advise to read the Quran before or after Fajr. After Fajr, your mind is open, you're refreshed. So it's the best time for memorizing something. And also, some of them say after Maghrib, but I prefer after Fajr. After Fajr is an amazing time. Like, I memorize many things at that time.
Jazakallah khair for the questions for our extremely inexperienced selves. But yeah, like real quick, just to add on to all that is, if y'all ever have questions, yes, Ahlan wa sahlan.
Just one more recommendation. There's a book called Minhaj al-Muslim by Sheikh Abu Bakr al-Jazairi. It's a very simple read, but it's very comprehensive.
Is it English?
It's in Arabic and English. So,
Minhaj al-Muslim by Sheikh al-Jazairi. Abu Bakr al-Jazairi. Alright?
Anything that you need to have question on, you can go back to it. It's simple language, written in a very simple language and very comprehensive.
Jazakallah khair. So that's it for like Q&A stuff. Like I said, just ask, like, there's people, Sheikh, he was an amazing resource for you guys here. MashaAllah, may Allah bless him. Say, I mean, you know, the OG, man. Like, if y'all need anything, just hit him up. And I'm sure he's down to help. And you know, give y'all even fashion tips too, you know, like, he got y'all. MashaAllah. So like, don't be afraid to ask. That's the thing. A lot of times we get like really scared to ask, you know, people of knowledge, and we're like, oh, we're intimidated by them and the length of their beard and things like that. But you know, it's okay. You know, they've studied the deen, and there's a lot of wisdom that comes with that. So, you know, just go to them and let it all out, inshallah, okay? Yes.
How many years did it take you to get ready for the debate competition? And were you expecting to be a winner at that time?
Around 2012, I thought it was a dream, so I didn't expect to win. Well, how do I explain this? I don't know, it happened actually over the years. I went through many competitions, I competed in many competitions. It was like my last step, my last competition. So most people that come there, it's usually their first competition, or like most of them are experienced, but it's usually their first competition. So I already had experience. I went to Kuwait for a competition, I went to Sudan, and we have many national Quran competitions held in the U.S. That's how I got ready for the competition. But like for a whole year, I was reading 5 ajza a day, and that's how I got trained for the competition.
Okay, we good? Okay, sorry for we have to move on to the second last part of this program. So, who knows what a maqam is?
Maqamat.
Yes.
Nagamat.
Anyone who hasn't been to a mini camp? Okay, basically maqamat, like real quickly, like it's basically like the icing on the cake when you're reciting Quran. It's extremely, you know, it's not, none of this came from the Prophet ﷺ. It's all just an additional thing. It's an add-on to make it sound nice and sweet. So basically what a maqam is a type of melody with set notes of how high and low you go and how it sounds, and just you cook it up together, and then you recite, you know, some certain ayat, and like a happy maqam, like ajam, like mashallah, he did amazing matching the maqamat to the ayat. He read ayat about what people who will be entering Jahannam, may Allah protect us, but he read that ayat in maqam sabah, which is extremely sad and it's depressing maqam. And then when he went to the ayat about the people who will enter paradise, may we be among them, and he read that in maqam ajam, which is an extremely high, you know, it's a really high and happy maqam, right? So that's what maqamat are. There are 8 major ones. There's a lot of other ones, right? There's Sabah, Hijaz. There's a little acronym. It's Sunya Abi Sahrika. It's Sabah, Hijaz, or Sabah Nahawand, Sabah Nahawand, Ajam, Bayati, Sika, Hijaz, and then Rust, and then Kurd. None of y'all should know any of this. It's not a big deal. This is all just like extra stuff. Once you've mastered tajweed, like that's the main thing, is when you want to move on to something like maqamat and studying like the melodious side of reciting, make sure you have tajweed down, and make sure you know how to recite the Quran the way the Prophet ﷺ prescribed us to recite it. The rules and the ahkam. You guys know what qalqala is? Y'all heard of that? Ghunna? All this. Someone say qalqala. Give me a word of qalqala. Let's see. Haqqa. Good. What about ghunna? There you go, mashallah. So these are all little rules that you have not little, they're major rules, and that's how it's basically the kind of like the prescription for when you want to recite the Quran. How you recite it is much more important than the way it sounds. Cool?
Yep.
Okay, so what maqamat are, for example, I'm putting Ahmed on the spot, but I want him to do an ayah in maqam sika, and I'll show you how it sounds.
Echo. ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا
So Egyptians mostly, and now like a lot more people. But back when reciting was like, or still is, but like Egyptian reciters, when they would have like these gatherings like this, and they would recite Quran, and the sheikh would like go crazy and just like blow everyone's mind. When he would be done with like a verse, or he would do a waqf, like a stop, everyone just like out of their seats, like Allah, Allah. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like y'all seen the YouTube videos after Boston, everyone's just like, bro, these guys are wild. But I'm pretty sure that if we were there, we'd probably do the same thing, right? But and I asked my chef, let me tell you, this is funny. Like there's a video in Egypt, like Chef Mahmoud Jahad, some dude jumped on him, like straight up, like jumped like right here, and just started like kissing him in his face and stuff. And he's like, oh, you know what, I'm amazing. Like this is in the middle of a surah. And then I sent it to my chef, like, yo, why is this guy like doing that? That's kind of weird. And he's like, yeah, but he attributed it to the effect of the Quran on him. So that voice was like a liaison to get into his heart, and then the ayah just punched him. So I say that a lot, huh? Okay, so that's one example of maqam sika sounds like. It's like a set of notes. That's Sika.
That's how you practice.
Huh?
That's how you practice.
That's why you practice. Sika is what I told him to do because it's the hardest one for me in Quran. Yeah, anyways. So we're going to do that real quick. We can show you guys a couple more. Who knows Imam Sudais? Yes, because he's quick. Y'all like him, huh?
Is that a question?
It's quick, yeah. So he primarily recites with Rast, or like coded sometimes, or Bayati sometimes, a little bit. Rare.
Sabra sometimes.
Right? So he'll be like, this is Maqam Rast. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. It's kind of a mix of languages. But so do y'all have any requests that you would want from our maqam? Nahawan, can you hit us up?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم القارعة ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة
That's it. Good job. You got that one. That was right. Okay. What's another maqam? That was Nahawan. For those who want to know. It's one of the most popular, one of the most loved. I'll try to do it. Okay. Bismillah. والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها. And also Egyptians, Allah bless them with oxygen tanks in their chest. Their breath is like so long. And if for anyone who wanted, I know it's a really popular question. How do you increase your breath when you recite? It's just keep going until you fail. Like you keep going until you run out of breath. And also the way you take your deep breath, because our lungs are kind of triangular-ish, and we only fill up that top, like the tip of the ice. What's it called? Icebreaker?
Iceberg.
Iceberg, that's the icebreaker. But you have to fill up the whole thing. And that's something you learn with time. So can we do some sabah?
ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون.
You see how it was sad? Did y'all feel that or happy? What do y'all think? Shout it out.
Sad.
Y'all be therapists. I'm kidding, huh? More? You need to hear more, do some more. And when he's done, okay. Okay, so he's gonna do 2 different maqamat, and then I'm gonna make him stop, and you guys are gonna shout out if you felt it was more sad or more happy. Deal? That was a question. Deal?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're gonna feel the difference. I'll repeat Siman.
ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون.
What do y'all think? Sad. There we go. Now he's gonna do the happy one. This is obvious.
لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون.
Y'all felt that? Yeah, it's not just me? Okay. Inshallah. Want to do the last one? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we have one more bit. Ayati.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقل إني أنا النذير المبين كما أنزلنا على المقتسمين الذين جعلوا القرآن عضين.
It's the maqam usually, most qurra, they start with it. Like when you're starting low, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. You start off with that maqam. It's more professional to start off with
Is that familiar though? Who knows Sheikh Abdul Basit Abdul Samad? That's how he starts. Like when he starts, he'll put it up here and like, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
You get the point, okay? You want to repeat it? Okay. How are we doing on time? Okay. Are y'all bored? No. You want to take a $5? No? Okay. Bismillah. So, what are the maqams? Good. Okay.
This is the maqam is used by Sheikh Mishair Rashid Al-Fasi. Who knows Sheikh Mishair Al-Fasi? He uses this maqam. Other sheikhs like Nasr Qatami, most of the Khalil sheikhs use this maqam. And it sounds like this. I'll try.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Allah. It's like in the mood, in your feels. There's also something that you can do to even be more artistic. Once you've mastered or like, once you've learned the major maqamat, you can kind of morph some into one. So what Ahmed's gonna do on this spot again? Can you do Nahawan Qurb mix?
وكان بالمؤمنين رحيما تحيتهم يوم يلقونه سلام.
Love. What do y'all think? Amazing, huh? MashaAllah. So that kind of wraps up the maqamat thing. By the way, like, I can't stress this enough because of how important it is. You shouldn't even be thinking about maqamat once you're starting Quran or you want to start a journey with Quran. This is something that's cosmetic, like it doesn't, really matter. Like what really matters is like the tajweed and the memorization. So that's, y'all didn't. This is just something that's fun, it's like something you can learn like afterwards when you're pursuing Quran. So we got one more bit for this thing. Yeah, so we got one more thing that we're going to do, inshallah, is we're going to try to imitate some popular mashayikh. But first, I wanted to invite someone on the stage and kind of put them on the spot. Abu Bilal, if you can come join us and give us like an imitation. This morning, he was just blowing our minds away. You need help?
They need a third chair. You guys take it away though. Hey, Mouadh.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. نشكر أبنائنا الكرام على هذه الأمسية القرآنية فجزاهم الله خير الجزاء ونشكركم على هذا الحضور. إخواني، القرآن الكريم كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: تركت فيكم ما أن تمسكتم بهما لن تضلوا بعدي أبدا، كتاب الله وسنتي. نسأل الله العظيم أن يجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما ومغفورا. أنا سأحاول أن أبدأ بآيات أو مقاطع، والذي يعرف من صاحب هذا الصوت يقول.
He said he's going to imitate a sheikh. Any of you guys can guess after he finishes the recitation, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان.
Who's going to guess the recital?
نعيد مقطع مقطع آخر. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد الذين طغوا في البلاد. عبد الباسط. طيب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان.
No. What? Try again.
الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. حسين. نعم.
تكبير.
طيب. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة. أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون.
من شاوي. Yes. صح. Let's give it up for عمو.
طيب. الطبلاوي. سمعتوا بالطبلاوي؟ الشيخ محمد الطبلاوي. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا. الطبلاوي مصر. طيب. والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اسماعيل مصطفى اسماعيل. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إن بطش ربك لشديد إنه هو يبدئ ويعيد وهو الغفور الودود ذو العرش المجيد فعال لما يريد. هل أتاك حديث الجنود فرعون وثمود بل الذين كفروا في تكذيب والله من ورائهم محيط. نفس مشان نفس.
This is so lucky. Takbir! This guy lives with y'all. He's from Missouri. So now we're gonna try to do something as good as that, inshallah. That's amazing, like the amount of mashayikh that he has in his database, mashallah. So we're gonna try to do something. Invitation
of Sheikh Mahmoud Shahat. Word of Sheikh Mahmoud Shahat.
Yes. Oh my God. No one. Minna, guys. Yeah, there's a sheikh named Mahmoud Shahat. He's
The
a
best
son
in
of,
the world right now.
Yeah, he's #1 in the world right now. Some will say it's Afasi.
No.
Yeah. But mashallah, he's amazing. Like just, yani, with all due respect to the Quran, like even if, when you put it aside, like they compare like the power of his voice to like one of the best like that's ever lived. You know, like the amount of range he has and the fact that he uses it for the most glorious book is amazing, and it should be alhamdulillah. You know, mashallah, this guy's voice is unreal, and we're gonna Mahmoud Shahat. Any spelling works, you know, like he's that big, mashallah. So we're gonna try to kind of do all of that. I might lose my breath. Echo.
هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا ونمير أهلنا
ونحفظ أخانا ونزداد كيل بعيد.
هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا ونمير أهلنا
ونحفظ أخانا ونزداد كيل بعير ذلك كيل يسير. That was Ayachi. Guys, when you hear him do it, oh, chill. One more time.
هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا ونمير أهلنا
ونحفظ أخانا ونزداد كيل بعير ذلك كيل he's about to blow his mind now.
It's an invitation of the Apostle.
وغلقت الأبواب وقالت هيت لك وقالت هيت لك وقالت هيت لك وقالت هيت لك وغلقت الأبواب وقالت هيت لك قال معاذ
How many qira'at was that?
All 10.
All 10. That was all 10 qira'at in. Huh? Muslim. Oh. Tahrim? This is Mustafa Ismail, Surah Tahrim, like one of his most famous recitations. He goes too high. My voice is getting cracked or I lose my breath. Bismillah. عسى ربه إن طلقكن أن يبدله أزواجا خيرا منكن مسلمات مؤمنات قانتات تائبات عابدات سائحات ثيبات You go now. Let me
الذين يبلغون.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما كان على النبي من حرج فيما فرض الله له سنة الله في الذين خلوا من قبل وكان أمر الله قدرا مقدورا الذين يبلغون رسالات الله ويخشونه ولا يخشون أحدا إلا الله وكفى بالله حسيبا خالدين فيها حسنت مستقرا ومقاما قل ما يعبأ بكم ربي لولا دعاؤكم فقد كذبتم فسوف يكون لزاما بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم خالدين فيها حسنت مستقرا ومقاما قل ما يعبأ بكم ربي لولا دعاؤكم فقد كذبتم فسوف يكون لزاما.
I'm going to try to do imitation of Sheikh Abdul Basit, Surah Duha. It's really popular. I'm going to try it. My breath is probably going to run out. Just don't laugh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى.
ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى.
فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر
وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم القارعة القارعة ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم القارعة ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة.
That was Maqam Nahawan. Can y'all recognize it because I learned it just now? No? Okay. Is there anything else? I can try something like Minshawi. ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم
إذ يتلقى المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد.
This is the perks of having being friends with a world champ. You just tell them what to do for that. I got you. MashaAllah. If y'all have anything else y'all wanted to request real quick before we wrap it up. Good, okay. Because we're done. You have one more thing first? And then we can move fast, please. Hey, what's up, bro?
You imitate him?
Who? Oh no, I didn't get there yet. Why would he downgrade? Well, I'm not supposed to. Oh, were y'all going here? Imitate me? No. He's not imitating me. No. We're not doing roast battles, Quran roast. No, we're not starting that. You're a savage kid, huh? He's trying to break a friendship up. What's up, Ahlan? Okay. علاش ما صليوش؟ Let's talk after this. Do?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا. جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا. رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن. رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا. يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا صفا لا يتكلمون فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا صدق الله العظيم.
جزاك الله خير. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. سبحان الذي سخر لنا هذا oops. What's the dua for? What is it? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. جزاك الله خير, guys. I'm just gonna let y'all stay in y'all's fields. Amazing ayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, I hope you guys benefited something from the event, from Sheikh Ahmed, Al-Qari, Al-Sheikh, and Jazakallah khair for inviting us, and I hope you guys had as great of a time as we did. We really loved you guys, and we appreciate the energy. So Jazakallah khair, keep us in your da'as, inshallah.
Takbir! Takbir! Okay, that's a wrap for our semester of UMKC MSA events. I want to thank everyone that came to our events this whole semester, and inshallah, stay tuned for our next semester of many more amazing events. I want to thank everyone for coming and thank our amazing reciters here. I'm glad that you guys all experienced what we all experienced, because they're amazing reciters, and inshallah, you guys benefit from this event. And now, we're gonna pray Asha and get our good deeds. And don't forget, we got a lot more food left, so if you guys are still hungry, we have more food. All right, everyone upstairs, we're gonna pray Asha, and that's it. Jazakallah khairan, assalamu alaikum.